Um, so my panel will be going after kitchen safety, and um, it's going to be more ground into more stuff for kitchen safety because everybody knows not, I would just say like the basic like knives in the kitchen, but for mine is I realized not a lot of people talk about it, but the different levels of it. So communication is a big is one of the key things in the kitchen for safety. So for knowing what's around your environment, so like I said, for communication is letting people know what you're at or where you're at. That's why you see and you hear people talk in the kitchen. So like say, oh, I have I'm behind you, or or I, or I have something in my hand. Is knowing, so there will be accidents prevented. So that's why one of the main reasons why communication is big in the kitchen is knowing your environment where everybody's at, so there'll be unprevented accidents. And my other one is this one is a really a a, a big thing and is let's say this it was sanitary. So it's very sanitary is a it really is I would like to say it's one of the most important things for safety in kitchens. So like you have to sanitize your whole area. I know bleach is one of the ones that they use to clean for sanitizers. It's always good because there's you might clean it, but you still don't see the bacteria that left behind of the residues. And that still stays there if you wash it with what just water. Because I know people just wash with water and stuff, but that germs are still stays there if you don't properly sanitize it. Sanitize. And it can go for certain foods too, like pork and kitchen are one of the main foods that have are dangerous to not would say dangerous, but will have a lot of can get you sick if you don't handle it properly when it comes to clean the area. You can get food poisoning for certain things. So like say if you wipe down your knife with just a rag and like and soap, it's that bacteria is still going to be left over there if you don't properly use it. That's why certain people use more higher cleaning products would you use for those items and to wipe down those because because for those foods they have a more higher chance of you getting sick. And and it comes to like same thing for that is cooking because different things you cook for different temperatures. So for you can't cook for chicken and pork you can't cook them like other food like medium rare because you still get sick because they say you get that um food poisoning. And for my other one is let's say hand food handling. So you can't really mix when it comes to storage food, you can't really mix certain ones. So that's why you have different foods in different areas because you can't have your fruit and meat together because they would mix together and honestly you can get really sick from that. That's why there's different containers you separate them from each other. So it's a big no, no. Anyway. So, and next I'm trying to sorry, give me a minute. I'm trying to word it right. Mm, for other safety in the kitchen is how do you say maintenance? Yeah, maintenance. Maintenance was is another thing because you would want a clean area for your kitchen wise so it would prevent more accident like spills if there's a puddle on the floor. So it's good to always have a clean area before because you won't want to prevent using old old utensils like rust because a lot of people don't know certain items can build residue and rust over time. So it's good to always to check and keep up to date with your utensils and stuff for people don't realize over time everything over time everything will get old. So it's not always good to use the same thing. And say and what would say I would say to to be aware of other people's I don't know exactly how to word it, but the allergies. So another thing is you need to know what depending on who you're cooking for, it's always good to ask for the allergies so you won't use the same like say I know some people are allergic to like for me like shellfish. So it's always good to wash after certain things you use instead of using it for the same thing. Because that the for this shellfish you could it will still be on that like say spatula or depending on what utensil you use, it will still be on there and the other person that would say allergic to that would still it would still I would not I would say contaminate the food that's not meant to be for that specific person to have a diet for that specific person because it will it's kind of like a that was the best way to describe it like an oil so it's still going to be there and just it's just mixing you won't see it but it's still there so that's one of the main thing is really being aware of what utensils is what use for what uses because it's not good to mix different utensils with different food that other people can't handle for their dieting or allergies, I mean. And another good another point for kitchen safety is to restocking. So it's not good to use like old which not old stuff for and that can go into for like fruit, vegetables and stuff because it has you can get sick from it and especially from chicken. Chicken's one of the high things. And it's always to you can't really leave out chicken more than 2 hours or you get really sick. And that goes for certain foods. Yeah, for certain foods you can leave out a little more longer than others, but it's always good to do your research on certain foods and what you can do and can't do with them to prevent it. So, like say, I know some foods it's okay to eat a little after they get a little spoiled for like fruits, which I know you can do that for fruit. You can, like say, if a banana gets a little overripe, you can use it to cook with it. But for like say meats, for certain meats, you can't do that because you will get sick. So it's always good to if you don't know, it's always good to do your research on certain foods because not all foods are the same. They're all different for a reason. And for another one is, I would say, grease. I know how to cook it with grease because a lot of people don't know what to do for um when it comes to with for greases, it's grease is kind of dangerous to cook with depending how you do it. Because I know a lot of people use it to fry their food, but I know, but once like something happens, if you have it too high, it could catch on fire, and which is a bad thing. And if anything, like a fire in general, in like in the kitchen area, or if someone cut themselves, it's always it's always like it's always better to keep. I know it's hard to at the moment, but to keep a calm mindset. Because if you're panicking and if something emergency happens, it's not good because it's just going to cause a more emergency. So for a fire, what I heard of, it's either you can use a fire extinguisher, but most of the time they usually what my grandma always says is to try to find something to cover like the lid, so to cut off the oxygen from it. But it's like it's different because I never really had experienced that firsthand. But it's always good to have a a calm a cool mindset when it comes to emergencies. So you have a better grasp of how to deal with the situations. Because no, it's not good to start panicking when something goes wrong in a kitchen environment, because that will lead to more disasters. And I would say, another key thing is knife safety. So to know everybody knows how to use a knife to cut, but there's more steps to it. Because if you have a dull knife, that could be be not really good. Because you can slip and like say scratch yourself with it, or just say your kitchen stuff. So it's always good to like maintain to always do checkups on your knives and stuff. So like some people like sharp. That's why people like to sharpen it and stuff. And it's always good to make sure there's nowhere near you when you're handling a knife, because a knife is is a dangerous thing to use. And knowing how to handle a knife too, because anybody can can cut, but it's the way how you can handle it. Because some people will be able to hold it and not have a tight enough grip, or cut their fingers. It's always good to, before you start cutting, to always look around your environments and yourself too. So to make sure you hold your meat, vegetable, or fruit right, to make sure you know where your hands are at, because sometimes you can be doing stuff and forget and accidentally hurt yourself. So it's always good to have to always pay attention in the kitchen to prevent accidents. So when it comes to knives, it's always for me, I find it simple to put a rag under my cutting board so it won't move. It won't move. So when you're cutting, because sometimes it's not really your fault, but it depends on certain materials you use. So like say I use like a wooden one, but I have a marble island that can slip if I wiped it down, and no one wants to cut something and slip. So that's one of the things I like to use is a rag under my I put a rag under my cutting board, so it has more of a grip and won't move to prevent those accidents. And another that's one of the main things for kitchen things. And I always like to it's always good to have your I know some people go like have their fingers out when they cut things, but sometimes some people get a little too nervous. That's why they don't want to cut it. So I kind of hold it like say like a cat, so my knuckles hold down on it. Then that's what I use to cut. Because for me, and that's for like it could be for as anybody uses it. But when I started cooking, it has me that's what I like to do because I felt more confidence. And that's one of the good things for kitchen, because you don't want to be worried about when you start cooking. So that's a good thing. And another thing is for safety. And safety goes a lot of ways. It doesn't just have to be like harmful stuff. It can be dieting. That's with kitchen safety. So knowing what to use for your food diets, if not for yourself, but for other people. S- So and it knows how to say maintain a balance of certain uses. So it's always good, like I said, to like switch it up with when it comes to certain food you use. So like beef, I know beef main beef products are really greasy. So it's really good to like switch up your meal plans like chicken. Chicken's a little more healthier and light than it would be like pork and stuff. Because another good thing is dieting, the food balance, which I'm pretty sure everybody saw like back when when they used to go to school to have the triangle thing. Because dieting is one of really important when it comes to for cooking. Like if you really, because it's not just for yourself, for other people. Because it's always good to have to maintain that healthy diet, and it's always like and like I know sometimes it's hard for certain people to do it, but it just takes time, and time is all you really need. And another, I would say it is hmm, I would say okay, I have another one for so another thing is a lot of people, well, for me too, is to for certain items, so like the oven, it's always good to to clean your oven, not just because it's it's let's say it's trying to word it. Not a lot. I see a lot of people don't really. I have a problem with that. I don't really. They don't really maintain their oven because over and they like leave it have other food fall down and build up to it. Yeah. Um, other other stuff for the end. Yeah, ovens is what really important too to always keep clean. Because like say certain food will fall down. It's just it could start a fire. So it's always good to always pay attention to your oven and clean that as well. Because when it comes to kitchen, it's always better to keep your whole environment clean as you would if it's in your own room or house. Because a lot of stuff can fall in there and start a fire, and you won't know until you open it or smell it, and it will be a little too late, and the fire builds up. So like I said, it's always good to once in a while to always clean your stove. So you never know what you're finding there. A lot of food over there, and some of that food can land on the hot iron rod, and it will crack. It will crack your thing, so it'll break your oven. Because that happened to me before, so I had to find out the hard way. But like I say, it's always good to always good to check out certain things you really notice to maintain that that how to say to maintain that environment, and that could be anything. And it's always good to check to um to always check all your utensils and stuff because sometimes over time they it builds up stuff, and it's always good to how to say it. Always yeah, it was always good to check just in case because you would never know if you see stuff that doesn't need to be in there. Look through some others. Mm, for another thing for kitchen. kitchen safety would be knowing, how would I say this? Um, sorry, give me a minute. I'm trying to word it to my best. Mm, okay. So another thing that I didn't know is really is like when it comes to certain things you have to well certain foods when if containerized you can't really leave in it like so I know a lot of things is which I didn't know that can't so for certain canned foods you can't leave it inside the can. I I really don't know too much about that, but I heard you can get sick from that food poisoning is what my grandma says. And yeah, food poisoning is what my grandma said. And a lot of my things I know is from my grandmother. Another good thing is to because it is I'm pretty sure I said this communication. So if you don't know, because I'm barely like a starting off started cooking, so it's never it's there's nothing really to be afraid to start cooking because in the kitchen you are gonna make mistakes. You are gonna burn. Well, not say burn, but you are yeah actually you will sometimes burn your food or something. A lot of and that's okay because it's kind of like one of my favorite things that I like to hear is really like practice makes perfect because you're not always going to um get it down once like a one-time try or know everything when it comes to kitchen safety or preventing them because accidents are going to happen, stuff are going to happen, and sometimes it's a little too like prevent it. But it's also as long as you learn from mistakes and you ask those questions that needs to be asked, and that's okay. And it's okay to ask questions because I struggle with asking questions, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it's always good to either to ask your mother, grandma, or dad, whoever cooks, for to start the to start knowing more, or if you don't, to start learn how to start cooking. Because cooking is one of the is a really big a good and a big thing to learn when it comes to living and safety, if not for yourself, for others. So for mainly is like a good like safety, like I said before, is dieting. So you know what you're cooking, you know what goes in your body, and you know what to put in there. And this yeah, it's like I said, it's cook. I would say cooking is really good, and knowing the stuff to plan for those is really good. I would I would like to I would like to see more people learn how to cook and know these safeties to more because a lot of people don't know it, but like I didn't know that. I thought learning how to cook was I would say basic thing, but for me is I was born into that, so my family did make me cook, but I didn't know for other people they don't know how to cook there because they're never taught to. And you can't really know something if you're never taught it or become awareness to it. So that's another thing is too. I know some people don't really talk or yeah talk to their friends or family to it, but I will. That's a good thing. Like I said, as we went back, communication is really important when it comes to kitchen safety because for other people might not know how to cook or not know like certain things when it comes to safety. And and like I said, the feedback when it comes to other people and yourself is really good because so you can so for other people to know how to handle those tasks or those bumps they have trouble in. And to to basically to for the end of my panel is yeah, kitchen safety is really important because it could what I say s save people from those accidents because without people acknowledging those safeties, a lot more people could potentially can lose a limb, not a limb, like a finger or a burn or a nasty burn. And it's always good to prevent those. That's why we see posters on them in the kit. So when it depends on put, you see posters on them on the wall, or you see articles about kitchen safety because kitchen safety is important, really important. That it's really important when it comes to those life skills. So I would like to just say a couple of words real quick is let's say this. So whenever you have the time is to let any people know about kitchen safety and and yeah, that kitchen safety because a lot of people don't know or unless they know some stuff that you don't know. So it's always good to go back and forth to learn from each other as as it as it brings they say as it can bring as it brings people together and cooking can express in different ways. Certain people uses that to t like for me, I use that to communicate my feelings because I have a hard time communicating when it comes to expressing myself. So I like to sh form that as to cooking. And when it comes to cook when it shows that, I like to see like to see how I know what I'm doing. So as those safety steps, I like to use those as I would say like not, I would say challenges. So like a solution. So if there's a problem, I have a solution to counter that problem. So prevent that accident, which is really good. I like to think about that. And it's always one of the main thing is I know a lot of people don't talk about moods in the kitchen is it is that is part kind of a deal in kitchen because I'm pretty sure no one wants anyone to go in a kitchen environment with the angry mood and chopping because there's certain things you when you get for certain moods you do tasks differently. So some would be like angry, more aggressive, sad would be more slow. And it just depends on the on where you're at in the environment. But it's always good to try to keep that positive mindset or a calm, neutral mindset when it comes to the kitchen because it have you be more focused and clear on certain tasks you're doing for in the kitchen. Then that would be I think that's all I got for my panel. Thank you for having me up here.